Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and I have the distinct pleasure and joy of welcoming someone who has dedicated her life in sharing the signs of happiness, that is Vedanta, with those seekers who aspire to learn more about life and seek guidance from scriptures like Bhagavad Gita. And Chinmaya mission has done wonderful service for humankind by spreading the message of Bhagavad Gita as inspired by Swami Chinmayanandji. And there is so much that is valuable for us to learn about Chinmaya mission. And a wonderful news that we have for all New Yorkers is that there's going to be a dedicated center, physical center right here in New York. It has always been there. And what are the aims and objectives of the mission, and with what auspicious events this center is going to be manifested in this part of the world. I take this opportunity of welcoming someone who is, if we hear about her from seekers, they say she is spiritual lad, but she herself would like to address herself as spiritual guide of Chinmaya mission here in New York. And at such a young age, such sincere dedication towards pursuit of knowledge as well as sharing the knowledge, Brahmacharini Shubhani Chaitanya ji joins us today. Shubhani ji, namaste, welcome.
Namaste.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Wonderful. So let us begin with the wonderful news that we have. And Chinmaya mission New York is going to be centered here in New York in a building. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Chinmaya Mission New York has been active since the 70s. So for a long time, but we've never actually had our own physical space. So finally, we've purchased our land in February. We've closed the deal and everything. And this August 16th, we're going to have our Bhumi Puja, or groundbreaking ceremony, where Swami Swarupanandaji, who is the current global head of Chinmaya Mission, will facilitate that for us.
There's also going to be Maha mantra chanting at Hindu Temple Auditorium on August 15th and 16th.
Yes, so while actually it's more of a discourse, so while Puja Swamiji is here, he's going to have two series of talks, one in Manhattan and one in Long Island. So in Manhattan on August 13 and 14, he will be talking about managing life, managing health and wealth. And in August 15 and 16, he will be speaking about the meaning of Mahamrityunjaya mantra, which is Om Trambakam Yajamahe.
So, since I hear about Mahamrityunjaya mantra from you, allow me to ask you, of course he'll share all the details, but talk to us a little bit about the meaning of Mahamrityunjaya mantra.
Sure. So it's a prayer to Lord Shiva, Trambakam, the one who has three eyes, to really liberate us from all bondage, from all suffering in this life. So people normally chant it when they're experiencing some trouble, some illness, some difficulty in their lives. And it is believed that when we chant that mantra again and again, with total surrender to Lord Shiva, healing will come in our lives in some way or the other.
So healing is important, and understanding is also important. Sometimes understanding also heals in some way. If you understand the intent of the person who you feel has been at the center of causing some sort of a hurt, then it becomes a little bit more easy for us to find a way to heal ourselves. But talking about the change in perception in our lives, that's a fascinating space. And when you just met Brahmacharini Shubhani Chaitanya ji, very few of you might have imagined that few years ago she not only studied at Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, she also did international trade and marketing course. She has also been active in that profession. So Shubhani, if I may ask you, what is it that you would say caused your shift to this extent where you change your role completely?
So I would say in the fashion industry, when I was working and studying, I felt a sense of emptiness. It means I had everything. My family was great. I had wonderful friends. My career was fantastic, and I used to travel a lot. But there was still some feeling of emptiness inside, and that just wouldn't go away. So I decided to leave everything for some time and just travel around and spend some time with myself to try and really figure out what I want to do and how I can gain this fullness.
So if I may request you to stay at this realization or feeling or recognizing that there is emptiness, because many of our viewers probably are somewhere parallel to that. It might not be as intense as it was with you, but I think many people feel what they do, even if they are successful or unsuccessful, there is a sense of emptiness. But that doesn't mean that you go away from family or the work. You feel that this is what I am given, and I need to take care of my duties, etc.
So it was like a feeling of emptiness that you can't take anymore. That it's like it's enough. It's overwhelming kind of emptiness, which some seekers can't live with. You can't live with yourself when you have that feeling, and it's so strong, and you feel like something else is calling you to do something more with your life. And it's also the feeling wherein you feel you have so much more to give. But in the profession that I was in, I felt like I was maybe utilizing 10% of me, which was sad.
So I want to understand it again, and there must be many viewers, some of them in the corporate world, etc. And if you ask their schedule, their to-do list is pretty long, and they probably work more than sometimes 16 hours, and they have few things happening in their mind, and yet they may be feeling something similar, that probably I could give more. So where do you find the answer to this question that I'm giving only, as you said, 10%, and I want to give more? And also a connected question is why it was 10%, because your profession was demanding, you were traveling also, and you need to be on your toes many times.
10% meaning in quality wise. I felt like I had more potential, more to share with the world, more to give. Quality wise, not quantity wise, really. I think I went to work, I did whatever I had to do, but I felt that I could serve people better. And that's what I wanted to do, to really help. And I found that in what I'm doing now.
So where did you reach to the point where you started doing what you're doing now? You probably had your own journey of coming to more sense of clarity about yourselves, or about the way that would enable you to help others.
So, well, what happened as I was traveling is we have what is called the YEP program, and from Chinmaya Mission, and so I had taken that program. It's for youth all over the world who really want to just explore spirituality. And when I took that course, I got exposure to what spirituality really meant and the practical application of it, because we also got to serve in that course and teach in schools and organize camps and organize workshops and travel all over India. So when I was going through those experiences, I felt more of a sense of fullness. And from that journey, then I decided that I want to take it more seriously. And this is how I ended up in this.
So youth empowerment program that you mentioned about, it was empowering for you also, being a part of it, participating as well as then helping organize YEP. YEP is a very good sounding word, YEP, Youth Empowerment Program. So what are the ways in which this program empowers youth?
So in number one, it gives youth a lot of discipline, a lot of focus, which is missing nowadays because there's a schedule and there are classes every day. Second is that youth are constantly tested to come out of their comfort zones. Whereas, in regular lives, we have our own rooms, we have our own comfort. There, you could be sharing a room with 3 or 4 people that you don't know, and it could be for 2 months. Third is that we traveled to a lot of different places. So it gives you a wide range, because learning doesn't just happen in the classroom, but also outside. And fourth is we really had a lot of service projects, where we had to take ownership of it, of developing curriculum, of writing books, of organizing camps. We had to take full ownership of doing those things. And I think the way we really learn is when people guide us, they give us a vision. The Swamiji who guided us, Swami Mitranandaji, he guided us, he gave us the vision for things, and he let us do it, And that was fascinating. I felt like he was the best boss I've ever had.
So talking about interpersonal relationship at workspace, and how Bhagavad Gita, you think, has some pointers which might help people in working with less stress and have more cordial and harmonious relationship with their co-workers.
Sure. There are a few key points in Bhagavad Gita. One that I find really important is the Bhagavad Gita talks about swadharma. Swadharma is one's own innate tendency or natural aptitude. First of all, one has to get in the field or be exposed to their swadharma. So if their swadharma is teaching, then they should be in that field. If it's in medicine and healing people in some way or the other, they should be in that field. If it's in numbers, they should be in that field. So the first step is finding out the right field that matches one's aptitude, matches one's natural tendencies, because then there will be success. Otherwise, so many people get stuck to doing what they're doing, but they don't feel that passion about it. They don't feel fulfilled about it. And the second thing about the pointers of Bhagavad Gita is that it tells us to, I'm sure you've heard us, focus on the present. Just give your all in the present moment, and the future will take care of itself. Everything else will happen in its own time. So when we...
Okay, so now forgive me, this is like the kind of question which is not considered decent or pleasant. What you just said, that you give yourself 100% to the present and the rest would follow. Why didn't you apply it at the time when you were working in the fashion industry?
Because that wasn't my swadharma. That wasn't my passion. And I knew it. Mm-hmm. I had gone into the fashion industry at that time because I didn't have enough of the finances to pursue any other degree. So the second choice was fashion and marketing, and that's what I pursued. But I knew that that wasn't what I wanted to do.
Shubhani, talk to us a little bit about what can help someone in finding his or swadharma. Because you most of the time are guided by your needs or what your parents tell us, or how you find your peers are, the core group of friends, what they think is right, you start doing that. So this question of emptiness and what is my swadharma, it probably becomes so much clearly visible at a later stage.
Well, what helps is really reflecting on one's life, especially on one's childhood, actually. When in our culture, when babies were born, how they would do it is they would put different toys in the room, and the babies would crawl, and a pen would be there, a card would be there, a sword would be there, and whatever they would pick up, it was said that that was their swadharma. Nowadays, it's really thinking about what our interests are. What do we like to do, even if we weren't to get paid for it, even if we weren't to be recognized for it, even if nobody knew anything about us doing it, but we still love to do it, then that's swadharma. And many people have that fear that if I engage in my swadharma, then how am I going to make money, right? That's the main thing. People don't want to find that swadharma. They would just want to find a means to make money. But in the Gita, it clearly says if one engages in their swadharma, success will come. It will come. Because it's so obvious that that person excels in the field that they love. And success is automatic.
Success is automatic if you follow your Swadharma. That is the assurance we are getting from Shubhani ji, who is a spiritual guide of Chinmaya Mission New York. And Chinmaya Mission is going to have its physical center here in New York very soon. In the month of August 13th onwards, there are going to be different events which would energize this whole place with even more clarity rooted in our scriptures. And when I hear about signs of happiness, the way you describe when you share the wealth of knowledge from Vedanta, why people are unhappy?
Because they haven't started to look within yet, right? It's so cliche, but everybody says the answers are within. Why people are unhappy is because we're not looking for happiness in the right direction. Will somebody ever look for saltiness in sugar?
No.
No, because it's not there. We're looking for happiness, permanent happiness, in the world outside. Like saltiness in sugar, it's not there. That's why most are unhappy. But if we look in the right direction, then we'll find it.
We hear these words, as you said, from various sources, but we are not convinced. Most of the time we hear them and we say it is not practical. It might be good for others, but not for me. So how to address this mental state where we pretend that we are listening, but we are not open to the suggestions that are being given?
So it has to come from deep inquiry, right? It's not just going to come in one sitting or one phrase or one word. Maybe for some it does, but a lot of the times it has to do with one has to intensely study the scriptures, learn the Gita, learn, different texts. And as one studies, as one reads, then one begins to understand what this happiness really is all about and what it means. It doesn't just come like that.
So what you said makes it difficult for people to think about their approach to God. They say, I don't have time to study. I don't see that as an excuse, because it is the case with many people, and they are doing 2-3 jobs and they think that I have to take care of my family, etc.
Yeah.
So what they do, and with due respect to everyone, whichever be their way, so they fold hands in front of God's image or go to the temple, and there also their prime motive is that God help me achieve this, God help me fulfill this desire, and that is, I think, is growing, and that is the kind of assurance you are also getting from many saints or Mahatmas, etc. So Chinmaya Mission has a different way of approaching this spiritual development. Would you say that?
Yeah, it definitely does. The role of God is really important, but we all know that God helps those who help themselves. So Chinmaya Mission actually focuses on us helping ourselves, right? Helping ourselves learn more about what God really is. Because only when we can truly connect to God, then things can happen. Connecting to God is not doing this, God, please give me this. That's not connecting to God at all. Connecting to God it's at such a deep level.
Where you see that moment unfolded in your life where you felt that you are deeply connected to God. And if I may add, when we say God, of course, we think that we are referring to the same God, but our concept of God varies from one religion to another, from one individual to another also.
Mm-hmm. Well, so in Sanatana Dharma, which is termed as Hinduism, God is that universal, that cosmic intelligence that governs the world. But many people aren't able to understand this subtle concept. Therefore, there are forms. God manifests as forms, as Shiva, as Shakti, as Hanumanji. So people connect in these ways. But what's important to really understand is there's a deeper meaning to God. There's a deeper significance to what God really is. And
what is that?
That God is that universal intelligence, that universal principle that is everywhere, that is in everything, that is in everyone. And when somebody is able to understand that, then they can tap into that, right? If we think that God is just a form, then we won't.
Limited.
Yeah, it's very limiting. It's limiting God.
Shubhani, you mentioned about cosmic intelligence, universal intelligence, and me, you, everyone is a part of that cosmic intelligence. So why some people behave intelligently but others don't?
Because the thing is that their minds, or the minds are not pure enough to let this divinity out, right? Divinity is everywhere. It's like the sun. The sun's everywhere. Now, if you close your doors and you close your windows and light doesn't come in your room, can you blame the sun?
No.
No, right? But if your windows are open and your blinds are open and your doors open, then the sun's light shines through. So that divinity is within us, but sometimes the mind is not pure enough, so it can't shine through.
And the way that is shining through Shubhani ji is in various ways. And one of them happens, she has also been a good writer, editor, and she also wrote script for a movie on the life of Pujya Gurudev, and which is called On a Quest. Am I right?
Yeah, so it was a team of us who, led by Swami Mitrananda ji, who had put together that script.
Tell us a little bit about the significant, not aspect or anything that you feel about Swami Chinmaya ji's life, which you found extraordinary, or that stays with you as a source of inspiration, or something that you would like to share.
Why I really connect Pujya Gurudev is because he was just a regular person, you know? He was just a regular person like all of us, and he was on a quest. He wanted to know the deeper meaning of life. He pursued journalism, he was in the freedom movement. I mean, he went through so many things, and then he found what he was looking for. And the best thing about him is that he shared it. Many of us, it would have been so hard to go to the Himalayas to learn about this knowledge. But Pujya Gurudev had literally taken the Gita and the Upanishads and put it in a language that speaks to the modern person. So we're able to understand it. He has such anecdotes and stories and jokes that make us connect with this spiritually. And that's what's really fascinating about him. He makes that complex truth so simple for us to understand.
Shubhani, you said something about joke. So any humorous side that you found from Swami Chinmaya ji, or during your classes where you were sometimes sharing some anecdote from his life which is lighter in nature?
So, let me think if I could. There's so many, but I don't know if any comes to mind right now.
He was tough. This is the image that I have. Tough meaning, I mean, you needed to be disciplined in his presence, and that's what impression I gathered from some people. So it is not humorous, but of course.
So I mean, I've never physically seen him, but I've also heard that he's very, very strict and very disciplined. But in interperson, he was, you know, he had that humor and that wit come out, and I think he knew you can't deal with everybody in the same way. So in certain people, he had to deal with humor, and certain people with strictness, you know, and Gurudev knew how to do that.
So Gurudev, Swami Chinmaya ji's blessings are with everyone, I would say, but especially the way they are unfolding through members of Chinmaya mission has helped the community at large in different cities. That includes many cities in America, and there is a Chinmaya mission where classes are conducted, and it is the fragrance of the knowledge of Vedanta that is disseminated from these centers in a way which brings this universal intelligence awareness palpable for people. And Shubhani, as we conclude our conversation, once again, you want to say something about the upcoming events, in particular related to the new center here?
Sure. I would really like to invite everyone to come to the events. As I said, August 13 to 14, we'll be in Manhattan. Swami Swarupanandaji will be speaking on managing health and wealth. And 15 and 16, he will be speaking on Maha Mrityunjaya Mantra in the Hindu Temple Auditorium in Queens. And of course, we have our groundbreaking ceremony on August 16th. As well as we're blessed to have Swami Mitranandaji also with us on Labor Day weekend. Swamiji will be facilitating a camp on Samudra Ashtottara, 108 different names of the ocean, and how that relates to daily living.
So 108 names of Samudra or ocean, that's something which tells us about the creative wealth of Sanatana Dharma and how Ashtamurtis are also a source of upasana. And being in the presence of Brahmacharini Shubhani Chaitanya ji reminds us that simplicity in life, as well as a kind of sanyam in not saying everything that you know, saying it in the measure which is required for the moment, and your pursuit of knowledge and the compassion and love with which you have shared. I would express my gratefulness to you for that, and thank you very much for joining us here.
Thank you, Ashok ji, for having us.
Thanking Shubhani ji, Brahmacharini Shubhani Chaitanya ji from Chinmaya Mission, spiritual guide here, and thanking all of you with a lot of joy, and may the secret of happiness, signs of happiness, be a part of your lives. This is Ashok Vyas.